Hi, we are back with Meet the Authors. I am Nerissa Golden, and right now joining me is Deanne Whiskey-John, originally from Trinidad, but currently based in Montserrat. Hello, Deanne. Deanne, welcome back to Alliouagana Festival of the Word.
Hi, Nerissa. Thank you for the invitation.
Now, you have had a busy year, and we had to kind of decide which book are we going to talk about. And we decided on your project, Regenerating Education. Talk to us a bit about that work.
Okay, so I selected the raising standards in education. And that is really, it's real, meaning it's based on real events. I used to serve as a principal in Turks and Caicos Islands, and I had gotten this new school and I had to do a turnaround. So the book is written based on what took place there. I was actually experimenting with both business and educational philosophies and principles, mixing the two, because most people say you can't combine business with education. And I dared to prove them wrong, because I felt that there were many practices that we used in the business world, because my master's is in business, but I also have qualifications in education, because I've done postgraduate work and so on. And I felt that there was an overlap. In my studies, I found that a lot of the things that we needed to have addressed in schools, we needed or should have taken a business slant, or how should I say, in terms of solving the issues, we can use a lot of the different strategies and so on that we have in business. Okay. So essentially it's about that.
All right. So when you wrote this book, were you thinking about teachers or people on the educational level, the people who make decisions about what happens in our schools?
I was thinking about principals, because usually what happens as a principal, normally you'd be a teacher, you'd be promoted to be a head of department, then you become a principal. And then you have to make that giant leap to try to now become a manager, leader, slash, all the other things, project manager, etc. Right. And it was meant to help them, because normally as a teacher, you're accustomed doing projects and initiatives. They will say, okay, we're having a walk, or we're having a cleanup campaign, different things like that. So what I did, I took an initiative where we were cleaning up the school, because when I inherited this school, it was in a state of, I would say, although it was a new school, in terms of cleanliness, the environment was really depressing and needed cleaning up, as well as the esteem of the children. They felt the school was at the bottom of the barrel, because they were underperforming. And so I needed to change the brand, rebrand the school. I also needed to lift the confidence, boost the confidence of both the students and the teachers, in order for them to begin actually espousing what I wanted to hear. Our school is number one. And so I started with the environment, because I can't see how you can feel prestigious in an environment that is not wholesome, that is not attractive. Yeah. So that's what I did essentially in trying to repair the environment and regenerate the school, but starting with the environment. At first, I didn't have a lot of buy-in, because the teachers were convinced, they had a mindset. And I was adamant that this could be changed. And especially when you're dealing with students, and if you want to make a quick turnaround, you have to reach for the low-hanging fruits. So the environment was the low-hanging fruit for me. And initially they were saying, this can't happen. The children that I had came from a cross-section across the Caribbean, and they were saying this, they're accustomed with this. And I'm saying, no, they're not accustomed to this. This was allowed. So we started cleaning up. And it started by degumming the school. Taking gum off the floor, painting the classrooms, asking teachers to create an environment within the classroom. And also, I started with a strategic approach, having the teachers, because when I got to school, there was no mission, no vision, no core values. So I had a strategic workshop with all the stakeholders, and I allowed them to decide, where do you want to take this school? When they decided, the joke about it is that, I don't know, they thought I would be the one doing the work, but I'm not the one doing the work. I was facilitating. I was setting targets. And so once we had set the targets, I then came back and did the initiative, but I tied it to our core values. Our core values became our mantra. If we spoke respect, they said respect, it means respect your environment. And so it was all connected. It wasn't just an isolated event. It became a school-wide strategy. And I had to remind them, even like the strategic statements, I put it up all over the school, in every single classroom. Everybody needed to know this is where we're going. And they needed to know it by heart, because if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what this school stands for, you can't support. Every decision that you make in the school should be aligned to the mission, vision, and the core values. So I tied it all in.
Wonderful. So you believe that the model that you created can be replicated across the Caribbean? Does it? Yes. And it doesn't matter the resource level or economic level of the people?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You know, usually we use resources as an excuse. I wouldn't say it's not important, but I first believe that you need to know where you want to be. You need to have core values that will guide your decision, even personally, all right? So the first thing I think is to align the institution. We must have a mission. We must have a vision of where we would like to be. And once we have our core values, every single decision, even if you have limited resources, your resources will now be used to support those values. You know, sometimes we want to know, should we spend on this? Should we? So go right back to your core values and your mission. Is this going to support our mission? Is this going to take us to where we envision ourselves? And then you'll use your limited resources in a better fashion. You'll manage them better. And in some instances, even when you're twinning with projects, it should align. You don't want to do projects that are not aligned to the culture that you want to build and where you want to go. Yeah,
that's brilliant. So Deanne, how can we get a hold of the book, and are there other resources that teachers or principals could be able to get from you to help them create a similar model in their school?
Yes, well, the book is online. I'm hoping that we'll have both the paperback and the online version. The online version is online already. It's up and running. The paperback version, I'm hoping that I can bring in 1 or 2. But the thing about it is that it is best if principals want to adopt a model that, because I consult as well, that I meet with them, because every single school is different. You know, in the book I mentioned, I used the starfish, because I think every school has its own individuality, its own personality. And you can choose whatever project, but first of all, as I said, you have to decide where you want to go. What's your mission? What's your vision? What are your core values? Schools have those things up 100 years old, 50 years old. They've never looked at it. They don't refer to it. But like any organization, when you walk into their front door, you see what they're about. And it's the same thing for schools. So I'm open to connecting with principals and schools across the Caribbean. And not just schools, it's any organization that wants to turn around their organization. I use the school, but it can be any organization. I am available to guide them through the process, because it's an individual thing. It's not something that you just pick up and say, okay, so I want to just do exactly that. It won't work like that.
Yes. Brilliant. So this is Deanne Whiskey-John. You are watching Meet the Authors at Lids Fest, and you are going to be able to find all the details about the book in the comments and the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations again on another important project as it relates to helping to improve education across the region. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay, bye.